everybody, and welcome to another episode of Grow For It. Today we have a very special guest, Dr. Nancy Arduengo, who has a background as a university professor and also had done some senior organization development consulting at NASA. She has a doctorate in philosophy and human development, and she currently is a business transformation consultant at the Ardlin Group, LLC. Dr. Arduengo, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Nathan. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Happy to have you. Can you start out by telling me a little bit about your journey starting out in the coaching world?
Yeah, my background really is in human resources. Years ago, I was a human resource generalist with AT&T, and I went back to graduate school and got a master's in organization development. And then decided that I wanted to actually be able to teach in that program. And so they said, well, you're going to need a doctoral degree. So I went to Fielding Graduate University for my doctorate, and it's in human development. And the coaching really came from, I kind of look at everything I do as coaching. You know, even if I'm doing like team building, I feel like that's like group coaching, and also, helping, particularly like executive coaching. I do quite a bit of that. And it's one of the things I really enjoy. And you mentioned that I teach too. I teach for a couple of different universities online and work with doctoral students. So and I see that as coaching too.
That's fantastic.
Helping them to get to the point of finishing their dissertations.
That's great. Well, how did you, come to the determination that it was time to go off and start your own company with coaching? Because obviously teaching is a little bit different, and there's a lot more that comes along with starting your own company than just what comes with the 9-to-5 typical work week. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah, I had left AT&T when I was in graduate school, and really I was doing a lot of these days they would call it gig work. You know, I was just doing a lot of freelance training with different organizations, and then I thought, well, I really need to, incorporate myself. I really need to have a business and get a business license. And so that would have been pretty close to when I graduated with my doctorate degree in 2005. And I did that for about 8 years, and then I was lucky to be put on a contract at NASA for 5 years working in their Office of Human Capital Management. And there we worked with, the scientists, the engineers, and did a lot of having them come together and figure out like how they can communicate more effectively and be just be more cohesive. And when that contract ended, I was like, okay, I need to go back to boosting my business, and I've been I have a long-term contract I've had with a group that was part of NASA, and that's coming to an end. So I'm been lately thinking more of focusing more on the coaching, and because that's the thing I like the most is working one-on-one with people. So, and I'm what they call a solopreneur because I'm by myself, right? How did you realize your passion for coaching?
I think it just more came from, I want to say like that one-on-one conversation, and it's not, I always have to tell people I'm not a psychologist, but it's kind of a lot of the same thing of just being willing to listen to people. And I think my superpower is that I ask really good questions and try to help. Coaching is, like you're not on the field with them playing the game, right? You're just in the background saying, have you tried this, or what could you do differently? And I really like people, and I feel like people, particularly in organizations, they need to find a way to manage up, is what we used to call it, because I've done tons of like leadership development programs and retreats with leaders, and they say, oh yeah, that's great, and then kind of things don't really change that much. So I find working one-on-one with people really helps the organization to change, because then they help them sort of like find their power and their confidence to, be assertive in certain situations. I was just talking to somebody today, and they were saying that, over the years that they had, they can be straightforward but not harsh. Like you don't have to be harsh to people. And so if I can help people find a way to, get into their own power. So that's why I love doing it.
And can you dive a little deeper into what you mean when you say that people have to learn how to coach up?
To coach up? Well, because, it's really a matter of, I'm trying to think of what the best story is. So one of the, a few years ago, I was at this day-long retreat, and the keynote speaker at this session was the science director at NASA. And he said that when he has his staff come into the room, to brainstorm new ideas, he always lets all of them speak first before he speaks, because he said because he's the director, once he says, oh, well, here's the direction I think we should take, then that's what they're going to do, right? And so he, wanted to empower them to, put out their own ideas. And he said that, 30 years plus of working at NASA, that he'd probably worked on maybe 8 really good ideas, and only one of them was his. And so I always tell people that story so that they understand that, if you're in a situation where the leader, is not really listening, then you have to find a way to, you say like managing up. It's really about asking questions that get the leader to think too, because not everybody's going to be as good as that guy, the director there. So.
Yeah, that's great. As far as your company goes, what would you say has been your proudest moment or of a success story that you're proud of that you'd be willing to share with us?
Yeah. So one of the things that I did, and it was with a group of people, so it wasn't just my company, but some other people too. We were able to create a climate advisory team, and that's not an environmental climate, but the climate within the organization. And it was a group of about a department of about 200 people, and they always wanted. It's kind of what we're talking about, the managing up. The director of that particular program, he wanted to hear from people and felt like that they were intimidated or that they didn't want to speak up. And so we helped them put together a group that was made up of, cross-functional and, and not just managers. In fact, it was limited to only one manager or supervisor to be on this team. And their role was to go to the different teams that they were on and get information about, what do you think, could be done differently? It was sort of like a human suggestion box. You know what I mean? So instead of somebody writing a note and putting it in a box, someone was actually talking to them and gathering that information, and then they would come back to the group and create, a suggestion for the director and present that to to him or her. And at first they struggled because people weren't really sure about how it was going to work. But eventually it got to the point where when you said, like, something I'm really proud of, I'm proud of the fact that they didn't really need me anymore. We set them up and got them going and gave them ideas about how to talk to people and how to better communicate. And then we just let them, take off with it. And even so the first year they kind of struggled, but they did quite a few things. By the third year that group, because it would rotate people, right? By the third year, they just were overwhelmed with applications of people who wanted to participate in that group. So I always look at that as, as a real success story, because, it gave everybody, it helped the group to understand that no one can actually empower another person, but, an organization that creates an environment where people feel comfortable to speak up and to make suggestions and to say, hey, this is not working. That's empowering. It's an empowering environment. So that's always what I'm striving for, is to help people do that.
That's great. I always love to hear when coaches say that they're proudest of the clients that don't need them anymore. That's got to be a tough place a little bit from a business perspective, but also a good sign of integrity when you're doing your job right and giving the honest truth. So that's great to hear. If you had to pick one thing, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I remember in my master's program, we had a lot of consultants who would come in and mentor us and talk to us about the program, and they always said that what our job is to actually work ourselves out of a job.
Yeah.
You want to get to the point where you can walk away and know that you made a difference, and that they're going to take it and make it their own and build it into something else. And so I always feel good about doing things like that.
That's fantastic. That's a sign of a job well done.
Yeah, thanks.
If you had to pick one thing in your business that's driving most of your growth right now, what would you say that is?
I'm going to say that it's one thing. Let me think. I was going to say it's fear of the unknown is driving my business. That, because there's so much change going on in all organizations, and like, for instance, the past 3 weeks, almost every day I get some sort of request to be in a seminar that's about everything's about AI. What's going to happen? How do we use it? How do you manage it? And things like that. And so I would think that, because of the rapid pace of technology, and also a lot of the things that are happening in society right now, there's so much uncertainty, that I think that that's what's driving my business. That people need, they just want to vent. I get a lot of that. People just want to vent and talk about what's going on, or they want you to help them, find another path, or, help them, to see, what direction they might want to take.
And then how do you see technology or automation playing a role in your business growth over the next few years?
I went to I don't know if you've ever heard of SCORE. It's a group that, of retired executives, but they've grown a lot over the years. But I went to a webinar that they had, which was all about, using AI to, develop your business. And I think that it's, I want to say that I look at things like ChatGPT or Copilot, that they're just tools, and that, so any tool can be misused. you can use a hammer to hammer in a nail, or you can use it to, smash up your toaster or whatever. But, so I think that I really accept that it's a tool that can be used effectively, but only if people, take the time to understand the mechanics of it. And I don't mean the technical mechanics, do you know what I mean? But what's the best way to use it? How does that best inform what I'm doing? And I really, right now, I know it's constantly changing and it could be something else, tomorrow. But right now, I just see it as it's kind of an extension of what I used to do when I would research on, I would go to Google and Google, tell me, the 3 best, trust building activities that I could do with a group, and I use it in that way a lot too. But right now I don't see it replacing people, but I know there's a lot of talk about that.
You're saying specifically in this industry or all over? All
over. There's a lot of talk about AI, like Amazon's going to lay off, 600,000 people or something like that and replace them with robots. And that's not exactly, robots are not exactly AI, but.
Right. But you're saying you don't see that happening in any industry?
That I don't see it happening? No, I think it will happen, but I don't see it happening right now. Do you know what I mean? I don't, particularly in the world of, because we're talking mainly about coaching, but coaching, consulting, I think there's still a need for, that human touch. And I've been to recently like a number of networking events, and people say, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "Well, I help organizations become more human-centric." And I think, okay, I can't really. And then somebody wanted me to make a totally AI video of myself, and I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense, because if I'm trying to help organizations be more human-centric, I don't want to start by giving them a fake Nancy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good insight there. On the other hand, what would you say is the hardest part of running your business right now?
Well, the hardest part of running my business is it's really like generating more clientele. That's really the main thing that, because I think I had mentioned that I've been on a long-term contract, and that is one of the things that's changing, pretty rapidly, is that most organizations are not hiring consultants or coaches for long-term contracts. They just want you to come in and help. Oh, we're having this problem. Can you come in? We'll hire you, to do a team building retreat with my people or whatever. And so that's the biggest challenge I face right now is, touching all the different things, all the social media, all the different outlets and avenues for generating clientele. Because as much as I love my work, I still need to earn money too.
Right.
Right.
Can you dive into that a little bit more? What are you currently doing that's working in that area? What are you doing that you don't feel like is working super well?
Well, I'm working with I am working with somebody, a marketer I hired, and I just revamped my website, and I'm pretty happy with it. It needs some tweaking, but I think that's going to help. And the other thing I'm going to say too is that even though I've been in the business a long time, and I never really thought of like the internet as being where I would find business, I'm embracing that whole idea of, telling stories, writing blog posts, putting up, and like creating a short video that, attracts people to want to work with me, as well as doing the in-person things like going and developing, programs that I can present at the chamber or, with an HR group, and things like that. But I'm sorry, I kind of lost the thread. What was your actual question?
That's all right. With regards to generating new clients, attracting new clients, what is working really well for you right now, and what are some things that you're struggling with in that area?
Yeah, I think right now probably the thing I'm struggling with is that landing it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm having lots of great conversations, and people are very willing to meet with me, and so doing all of those things. But how do you like actually land the work? And even though I've been in business for a long time, I was lucky that I'd been on a few contracts that kept me going, and kept my business going. And now that's just because of the things, like having a government contract is not the same as it used to be. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I will say I did check out your website ahead of this, and your website's looking very nice. So whatever you're doing there, keep it up. It's looking great. And if you haven't checked it out yet, go check out ardlengroup.com. Great looking website for an example, but also a lot of great research.
What was that one?
I was just promoting your website, ardlengroup.com.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You said that for the benefit of the people.
Yes, yep.
I'm sorry. I was like, is there some website you want me to go look at?
No, no, yours is looking really good. I will say, I
thank you.
Definitely wanted to compliment you on that. As far as, I'm trying to think. You had mentioned, I'll come back to that.
Well, I think embracing the new technology too, and new ideas about how to put yourself out there. It's doing, making videos and doing I want to say we're in the world of TikTok. You know what I mean? And I'm fine with that. I'll do whatever. Whatever works, and whatever helps me to grow my business, but also just growing the business isn't my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal really is to help people. Somebody asked me, why did you get into this? How did you end up doing this kind of work? And it all came from the fact that my younger sister very sadly passed away when she was 45. And we were all shocked because she believed that she had life insurance, but she didn't. And, she was always one of the best employees wherever she worked. And it really, made me think that organizations sometimes don't take care of their people, and so that was the impetus for me wanting to tell organizations that, there's, there you can get work done. There's tasks that people can do, but you don't really have an organization if you don't have people. And they're not really going to be productive if they're not, treated well, and that there's one of the people who is sort of he doesn't know he's a mentor of mine, but I followed him for years. Peter Block, he wrote a book called Flawless Consulting, and he has a quote saying that without interrelatedness, no work really happens. So, in any organization, it's that interconnection with the other people and knowing, how your work fits with other groups too. If I'm doing this, how does that help the next person, get their job done too, because we're all in this together. That's sort of my philosophy.
Yeah, that's some great insight there. And then I remembered what I was going to refer to there. You had mentioned that you were having a lot of good conversations, but then having trouble, I guess, closing the deal or making the final sale. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah. Okay. A little bit, yeah.
What do you think makes you struggle with that? Or like what part of the transition has been hard?
Uh, I, like I don't really know why, right? But a couple of thoughts that I have on that are that, maybe it just isn't a fit. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's just like, doing consulting work is just like, applying for a new job every 3 months or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you have to, you go there and you say, do you have a rapport with that person? And, and you might have a great conversation with them, but maybe they don't see exactly, how you're going to help their organization or help them individually. And, and right now I think that I'm in sort of I'm in a growing stage, so I'm lucky enough that I can continue to keep working towards, building that business. But, that's sort of my biggest challenge right now.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate your vulnerability there. And I don't think that's uncommon in the coaching world. A lot of people get into this to try and help people and make a difference in people's lives and don't have a lot of sales experience, or maybe it's just a more complex topic sometimes to really help people to see the value or understand what exactly they're getting from paying for it sometimes. So that's really important. I definitely understand that. And I think that's a very common thing that you hear in this space. So you're not alone there, that's for sure. Where would you say that you want your business to be looking maybe a year or two out into the future from now?
That's a very good question. I would say that, I want to be busy enough that I feel like I'm making a contribution, but not overwhelmed. That's the best answer I can give.
That's a great answer. And are there things that currently make you feel overwhelmed?
It's the only thing that makes me feel overwhelmed is that there's so many different avenues, right? So, like I have an Instagram account and I have my website that, luckily that's, that's pretty settled for now. There are some tweaks I want to do to it, but it, I appreciate you telling me that it looked nice. But so it's like, which of those things do I want to put my time into? And I think one of the things I've come to is that I really am, right now I'm trying to put my energy towards the things I'm doing that are in person. Like I'm sponsoring an HR chapter meeting next week, and I'm putting and I'm going to be doing a workshop for them in January. So like I think the one-on-one individual in-person activities are probably going to generate more than the virtual online things. But I think I need all of them. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I can say, oh well, I'm only going to do it this way,
Right, until you find something that works really well and you find consistent growth in one area maybe, but it certainly doesn't hurt to try and build a bunch of different areas. And I mean, the more ways you can reach people, the better. So it doesn't hurt.
Right.
So on another aspect of the business, what if you could free up 10 to 20 hours of your week every week? What would you focus on instead of what you're currently spending a lot of your time on?
I would spend more time with my granddaughter.
Oh, that's a great answer. How old's your granddaughter?
She's my youngest granddaughter. She's 18 months old.
Wow, that's great. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Then what would you say for someone who's just starting out in the coaching industry in their journey? What piece of advice would you give them that would have been really instrumental for you if you had known it or learned it right off the bat?
Well, there's this old adage that I learned a long time ago, and I didn't pay attention to it. It's that you can't wait until you're thirsty to dig a well. And in fact, I was just, I'm mentoring somebody, and I told her this yesterday. I was like, the main thing you need to do is to network. You need to build your network and continue to build you can't have too many people in your network, because you never know which person or individual or which group is going to be that next best thing for you.
I think that's fantastic advice. You can't wait until you're thirsty to build a well. Thinking about and preparing for the future. A lot of people don't think that far ahead, so that's amazing advice. And then let's see, for our viewers to find more information about your services and programs and what you do, where's the best place that you prefer for them to reach out to you? Is it your website, LinkedIn? You tell us where's best.
I would think, the best place to learn about me is, I would say both of those, but, probably my website, because you can sign up for my monthly newsletter at my website. You can also, ask for specific information, and I'll get the email, and then I will contact them, to set up an initial exploratory meeting. So that's the best way to get in touch with me. But also messages on LinkedIn too.
That's great. I did see on your website you kind of have 4 main focuses as your services, which were business transition management, employee engagement programs, organizational development consulting, and then executive and leadership coaching. Can you also talk to us a little bit about each of those 4 focuses? And I can remind you as you go, because that's a lot to keep on your mind.
Yeah, because I'm not looking at it.
Yeah. But I guess, can you talk us through what each of those looks like?
Yeah, so the business transformation piece is really, I have a certification in pro-site change management. Excuse me. So, that's, where are you now? Where do you see yourself going? If the organization is going through a major, change, whether it be, some kind of culture change or a technology change, that I can work alongside any project manager and pay attention to the people side of the change. Like, how do you overcome the resistance that might be there? And there's, people will say to me, when they talk about change, they're like, well, people don't like change. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that that's true, because if human beings really didn't like change, we'd all still be living in caves. So, there's a certain amount of change that people, embrace and want. It's the unknown, like we were talking before about that fear of, what is this going to mean to me if we're moving to a new building, will I be able to take all the things that I feel most comfortable with me? People just they want to know how that change is going to affect them. And that's the thing that I can help people with. And then the other one I'll talk about too is the executive and leadership coaching. And that can be one-on-one, that can be in a group setting. It can encompass some kind of team building. I also have certifications in several personality assessments. So we can, choose one of those that might help the group understand each other and understand their communication styles and maybe their conflict styles. So we could work on that. And also individual executive coaching or leadership coaching, because some people, they're not really they're not the executive in the organization, but they might want to be. They might want to get promoted. So it's how to help them figure out, kind of what I was saying before too, of finding their own confidence and and authenticity that can help them move forward. And then what was the third one?
Yep. So the other 2 that I saw, there were employee engagement programs and organizational development consulting.
Yeah, so the organizational development is really how effective is the organization. And like the story I told you about the group that I helped them develop that climate advisory team, those are the kinds of things that we would do. Also, there's, with organizational development or effectiveness, understanding some of the methods that I would use is there's something called a World Cafe where you get people sitting down and they brainstorm in, different sessions, to figure out where's the organization going, how are they moving towards that, but bringing everybody into the room and everybody's ideas into the room, and the employee engagement could be some conflict going on in the organization, or maybe changes that had happened are keeping the organization from being successful, from moving forward, or that they just don't. They're just not talking to each other effectively, I mentioned my granddaughter and her, one of the things that my son and daughter-in-law say, they always tell her, that it's okay to have big feelings, and I kind of look at some of the work that I do is telling, managers and supervisors, some people are going to have big feelings about what's going on in an organization. And it doesn't mean, it's not about tell us your feelings today. It's not that. It's just recognizing that they might just want to talk it out. They might just want to say, hey, I don't understand why we're doing things this way anymore. Or, I don't really feel like, I'm not motivated to come in and work like I used to. So we can look at the areas where they might need improvement, that will encourage people to be more engaged in the work that they're doing.
That's great. I've been a part of corporate America, and you definitely see big changes. Sometimes they're approached pretty well, and sometimes you just kind of get stuck with it. So it's definitely good to hear from you and your expertise, someone who's seen it 1,000 times and who has ideas for how to make those processes smoother. I think that's fantastic for employees to see. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Nancy. I appreciate your time and your insights today. Did you have anything else you wanted to leave people with before we end today?
Yeah, I will. There's a quote that I have from the author Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. He wrote The Little Prince, but he also has a quote about, if you want to build a ship, you don't give people wood or assign tasks to them. You make them long for the immensity of the sea. And I think that it encompasses my approach to, people will want to work towards something if they feel that it adds value to their life and makes them feel that they have contributed to something successful.
I love that. That's a fantastic quote. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you, Nathan.
Absolutely. Thank you, viewers. If you found this valuable, check out Nancy and her website. Please leave us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you here on another episode of Grow For It. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.